Yo, what is up guys? Anthony here, back with another Destiny Child video here on the channel. And in today's Destiny Child video, everyone, we are going to be running down the update note for August 12th, 2021 of Destiny Child Global, of course, which does contain the new upcoming Ragna Break Season 19 Reincarnation event. So we'll be diving into the more important information this update note does contain. So if you guys would like to see everything in a whole, I'll be sure to link the update note in the description box below as always, so you all can go check it out on your own time. But without any further ado, let's dive into the update note here and check out what's new. Alright everyone, first up here we do have Ragna Break Season 19 Reincarnation. Ragna Break period, August 12th after maintenance up until August 26th until maintenance. As for the Slayers period, of course it does begin on August 14th and will last up until August 26th until maintenance. Next up here, we do have the Rebirth Labyrinth update. With this specific update, of course, bringing along 13 new Pact Maker costumes for the following 3 to 5 star childs will be added after the August 12th update. As you can see, we do have an image here. For the 5-star Pact Maker costumes, we do have Mars, Deborah, Charlotte, Guillotine, and Mirkala receiving a costume this time around. And as for the 4-star Pact Maker costumes, we do have Hector, Cora, Flora, Amor, and Merlin receiving a costume. And for the 3-star units, we do have Salmasis, Euros, and Sisha receiving a costume this time around. Next up here, everyone, we do have the new childs being introduced with this specific update. First up here, we do have 5-star Nirrti, the newest water type supporter unit, as we did overview a preview of her kit and of course the expected contents of this update in our event preview video. But here she is being introduced in the update note as expected. 5-star Nirrti, the water type supporter unit. Here she is showcased in her before awakening live 2D animation, and here is Nirrti in her after awakening costume looking amazing. Next up here we do have her skill set. As for the tap skill here, rank 1, level 1 out of 10 stats, of course, deal 394 damage, a 60% chance to remove a lore for 2 allies, highest attack. As for the slide skill here, existence from the truth, deal 718 damage to 2 random enemies, nullified debuffs, cancelled after 14 seconds or upon receiving 1 debuff attacks for 2 water type allies, highest attack, and a max HP plus 1600 for 2 allies, lowest HP for 16 seconds long. In raids, grants double-edged sword, attack up and defense down 80% to 2 water type allies, highest attack. As for the drive skill here, awakening to Nirvana, deal 1858 damage to 3 random enemies, nullified debuffs cancelled after 14 seconds or upon receiving 1 debuff attacks for 5 random allies. And the leader buff here, attack plus 18% for water type allies. In raids, attack plus 15% added. Overall, an amazing kit. She does replace a unit such as Neptune for the specific Ragna Break and of course future fire type events going forward. She is an amazing unit and overall will be very useful for the Kalaratri event. So definitely look forward to summoning for at least 1 copy of this specific unit so you guys can take advantage of her amazing use during this event. Next up here, we do have the rank 7 level 10 out of 10 stats here for Nirrti. As you can see, the tap skill here does scale to a 80.1% chance to remove a lore from 2 allies still. As for the slide skill here, we do have the max HP shield for 2360 to 2 allies, and for the double-edged sword here, we do have attack up and defense down for a whopping 125.2%. So overall, amazing increases here on the tap and slide skills so far, and you can see the standard drive skill and leader buff here on the rank 7 skills. Next up here, we do have the rank 7 level 10 out of 10 stats, of course with ignition applied to them. For the tap skill here, we do have deal 2575 damage, 85.1% chance to nullify a lore for 2 allies, highest attack for 8 seconds long. The slide skill here, deal 4053 damage to 2 random enemies, nullified debuffs, cancelled after 14 seconds or upon receiving 1 debuff attacks for 2 water type allies, highest attack, and a max HP plus 2360 for 2 allies lowest HP for 16 seconds. In raids, grants double-edged sword, attack up and defense down 140.2% to 3 water type allies, highest attack. So you can see the significant increase here on the slide skill. She does apply the double-edged sword to 3 allies, and it does scale to 140.2%. So a huge increase here on the slide skill, and overall the tap skill does look amazing as well, with the 85.1% chance to nullify the Allure debuff for 2 allies. As for the drive skill here, we do have deal 7,154 damage to 3 random enemies, nullify debuffs canceled after 14 seconds or upon receiving 2 debuff attacks for 5 random allies, and the ignition leader buff here, attack plus 18% for water type allies. In raids, attack plus 20% added. So overall, an amazing ignition side here for Nirrti. She does have the whopping 140.2% attack up and a defense down on the slide skill, which does apply to 3 water type allies, specifically the highest attack amongst your units. And on the drive skill, we do have the nullified debuffs canceled upon taking 2 debuff attacks or after 14 seconds long. So overall, an amazing kit here after being ignited, and she'll be very useful for fire raids moving forward into future events. Next up here, everyone, we do have 5-star Pitch-dark Kalaratri, the fire type debuffer. Here she is displayed in her before awakening costume, and next up here we do have Kalaratri in her after awakening costume as well. As for the rank 1 level 1 out of 10 skills here for Kalaratri, the tap skill here, unanswered questions, deal 400 damage to 2 enemies, priority debuffed, inflict bleed, 140 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds if the target is debuffed. The slide skill here, Pain of Enlightenment, deal 704 damage to 2 enemies, priority lowest HP, 70% chance to inflict allure, nullify effects of buffs on target, cannot be removed except by specific removal skills for 12 seconds, and increase debuff duration by 17% based on current remaining debuff duration for 2 enemies with debuffs. The drive skill here, Teaching of the Righteous, deal 2,095 damage to 3 random enemies, inflict bleed, 600 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds long. And the leader buff here, enemies debuff evasion minus 15%. So overall, I would say she does have a nice kit. I do like the slide skill a ton, as it does have a 70% chance to inflict allure, and she does have the whopping plus 17% debuff extension here on the slide skill as well, and it does apply to 2 enemies with debuffs. She also does have bleed in her kit, specifically on the tap and drive skill. So if you would like to use her drive skill, let's say in Devil Rumble for example, she will apply this bleed effect to your enemy, and then you can use the slide skill to increase the debuff duration by 17%. And do keep in mind, this is at rank 1 level 1 stats here on the skill set. So overall, I do like Kalaratri a ton, and I will definitely consider myself raising her, as she does look amazing, and I do like her kits personally. So make sure to let me know what you do think so far of the new units here in the upcoming reincarnation event, and if you'll consider raising either Kalaratri and Nirrti. For the most part, I do expect everyone to raise Nirrti, as she will be a priority for this specific raid, but I would like to hear if you all will be considering raising Kalaratri. So yeah, make sure to let me know down below what you do think of Kalaratri so far, and let's move on to her rank 7 skills in the next slide. Next up here, everyone, we do have the rank 7 stats here for Kalaratri. Of course, the tap skill here, we do have deal 2,590 damage to 2 enemies, priority debuffed, inflict bleed, 603 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds if the target is debuffed. The slide skill here, Pain of Enlightenment, deal 4,035 damage to 2 enemies, priority lowest HP, 85.2% chance to inflict allure, nullify effects of buffs on target, cannot be removed except by specific removal skills for 12 seconds, and increase debuff duration by 40.6% based on your current remaining duration for 2 enemies with debuffs. And the drive skill here, deal 7,254 damage to 3 random enemies, inflict bleed, 600 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds long, and the leader buff here, enemies debuff evasion minus 15%. So overall, you can see the bleed does scale pretty well here on the tap and the drive skill, as well as the debuff duration does have a whopping extension by 40.6%, as well as the 85.2% chance to inflict allure. So there are the increases on the rank 7 level 10 out of 10 skills. And moving on, let's take a look at her ignited skill set here. Next up here, we do have the ignited skill set of Kalaratri. As for the tap skill here, we do have deal 2,615 damage to 2 enemies, priority debuffed, inflict bleed, a whopping 753 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds long. The slide skill here, deal 4,135 damage to 3 enemies, priority lowest HP, and a 90.2% chance to inflict allure. Nullify effects of buffs on target, cannot be removed except by specific removal skills for 12 seconds long, and increase debuff duration by 46.6% based on current remaining duration for 3 enemies with the debuffs. And the drive skill here, deal 7,584 damage to 3 random enemies, inflict bleed, 800 damage over time every 2 seconds for 14 seconds long, and the leader buff here stays the same with enemies debuff duration minus 15%. Now overall, I do love the kit. She does have a 90.2% chance to inflict allure here, and the extension here of course is increased by small percentage here in the ignited skill set. Of course, they can't increase it too much or else it'll be very overpowered, but we do have the plus 46.6% increase on the debuff durations from the slide skill, as well as the damage over time increase here on the tap and drive skill. So overall, I do like her a ton, and she would probably pair very well with a second debuffer on your team. So let's say, for example, you do run Kalaratri and Fluttering Citri, or Kalaratri and Limos, etc. The list does go on, so it would be pretty nice to see her float around in the Devil Rumble. Personally, I am going to be giving her a shot. Just looking at this ignited skill set, she does have damage over time, and I know the damage over time can be a little bit tricky with Battery, of course, in Devil Rumble, etc. But we do see units such as Eve flourish in the Devil Rumble. So personally, I will be giving Kalaratri a slot on my team and trying to raise her over time. And once I do so, maybe we'll give her a run here on the channel and see how she does do in a certain video for herself. So it would be pretty fun to race her, and I am considering it definitely for this unit. We are going to be able to obtain her from the Ragna Break event, so why not give it a shot for myself. Now make sure to let me know what you do think overall of her kits and Nirrti, as there are the kits for the 2 newest units here on the global side of the game. Both overall do seem to be amazing, and even if Kalaratri doesn't work out in the Devil Rumble, I do see her having a slot in the World Boss Trial side of the game, as she does have the debuff duration extension by 46.6% here on the ignited skill set, and unignited, I do believe it is at plus 40%. So overall, amazing skills here for both of the units, and I'm very excited to see Nirrti perform as well in the Ragna Break side of the game. She does seem to be a pretty complete support, minus the speed here on the units. She does have double-edged sword and the HP barrier, etc. So 2 amazing units, and yeah, just as I did say before, make sure to let me know what you do think of our 2 new units. Next up here, everyone, we do have the new costume being introduced after the update. Of course, this is the one we did expect to arrive with this event. As you can see, it is the Arhat Costume, so you can be able to obtain this costume from Platinum Treasure Chest here throughout the Reincarnation raid, and if you do get unlucky, you will have to buy it from the Ragna Break shop, and if you don't participate in the event, you can always just buy it from the Rebirth Labyrinth shop for 240 blood gems. So there's the costume. Overall, it does look very pretty. I do like this personally, as I did say before, over her Awakening and base skin for the dark type units. Next up here, we do have the 2 new hot spring costumes being introduced with the update. Of course, here at the top, we do have the hot spring costume for Nirrti, and at the bottom, we do have the hot spring costume for Kalaratri. Overall, both looking amazing, and there they are with their live 2D animations for you all to see. Next up here, we do have the new Soul Cartas being introduced with the new update. First up, we do have the 5-star welcome Soul Carta. As we did expect, overall it does showcase Kalaratri, Nirrti, and Arhat on the Soul Carta art here, looking very nice. As for the options, let's check it out here. For the level 1 Prism Uncapped 2+0, it does have attack and crit here for the stats. So overall, amazing stats here for an attacker unit. We do have 768 attack and 449 crits on the Prism version. And the option here for water type childs, increase max attack by 12% when equipped during a raid. So overall, an amazing Soul Carta here. Even on the base, it does have a 10% increase. So if you don't have any Soul Cartas for your water type attackers, consider summoning for this Soul Carta, as it will be very nice on either a tapper or slider units. Next up here, everyone, we do have the new summons being introduced to the game with this update. First up here, we do have the Nirrti pickup summon featuring Nirrti at a 1% rate and all other 5-star childs at a 2% rate. Next up here, we do have the guaranteed upon summoning for Nirrti and a guaranteed upon summoning for Flower of Justice Mafdet. Now, I was pretty surprised seeing Flower of Justice Mafdet receiving an additional guaranteed upon summoning with this event, as we did expect it to be Vairupa, but the devs did decide to go with Flower of Justice Mafdet. Of course, Mafdet is an amazing water type attacker, but I did expect to see Vairupa, so was a little surprised with this one. But overall, many will be satisfied with this unit, as she is an amazing unit for raids and world boss in a whole. But there are the guaranteed upon summonings for this specific event. Next up here, we do have the dual pickup summon for Nirrti and Flower of Justice Mafdet, both at a 0.75% rate, and all other 5-star childs at a 1.5% rate. Next up here, for the best child raid pickup summon, we do have Flower of Justice Mafdet featured here, as well as Kind Leo, Tundra Guillotine, and Exorcist Vairupa, all at a 0.75% rate. So there's Vairupa featured on the raid child pickup summon. And next up here, we do have the standard pickup summon for Kalaratri featured at a 1% rate, and all other 5-star childs at a 2% rate, as well as the Blood Gem pickup summon for water type units, and the new Welcome Soul Carta at a 1% rate. Next up here, everyone, we do have the new events being introduced with this update. First up here, we do have the all type day dungeons open from August 12th after maintenance up until August 19th. Details here: during the events period, all type day dungeons are open and available. Next up here, we do have the Rebirth challenge event period being August 12th after maintenance and running up until August 26th until maintenance. The details here: play Rebirth Labyrinth to get Rebirth coins and Galaxy napping places. So there are the missions here as well as the rewards. So play Rebirth Labyrinth 10, 20, and 40 times, and you will be able to obtain 10,000 Rebirth coins for the first mission here, 30,000 for the second, and 60,000 for the third. Next up here, we do have try Rebirth Labyrinth Synthesis here 10, 20, and 40 times. And in order here, you will receive a 4-star Galaxy napping place, a 5-star Galaxy napping place, and a additional 5-star Galaxy napping place as well. As for the completes all reward, we do have the standard Synthesis Grid Refresh ticket. And last up here, everyone, for the others tab, we do have the new backgrounds that will be added with the update. First up, we do have Arhat's house. Next up here, the Chamber of Trials. And we do have here the streets in Nepal, as well as the festival in Nepal background here. And for the final ones here, we do have Kumari's temple, as well as the abandoned temple, the Frozen Ladies, and the Ziva's patient room, as well as the final one here. So that'll do it overall, everyone, for today's Destiny Child video. Make sure to let me know what you did think of the update note overall for the Ragna Break Season 19 Reincarnation event. Personally, I am very excited for this one here, as we do have 2 new units being introduced to the game that do look amazing and do seem to be amazing overall within their kits and should be very useful across areas of the game. But of course, make sure to let me know down below in the comments what you do think personally of the update note overall. And if you guys would like to see everything in a whole, I'll be sure to have the link in the description box below for the update note here on the Destiny Child Moot page, so you guys can check it all out on your own time. But before you go, everyone, if you did enjoy today's Destiny Child video, make sure to leave a like on this one. And of course, if you haven't yet done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the Destiny Child content, and of course would like to stay notified for future videos here on the channel, as well as live streams here as well. But with all of that being said, I'll see you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.